What if I told you there was an entire city built by the Nephilim that was so evil, God himself commanded it to be completely wiped from the earth? Hidden in the lost Book of Enoch is the terrifying story of this forbidden civilization and what really happened there. Even the early church tried to erase this story, but fragments survived. Inside this city, the Watchers taught humanity secrets that corrupted bloodlines forever. And the scariest part, archaeologists may have already found its ruins, but nobody is allowed to talk about it. Stay with me until the end, because what they did in this city might explain why the world before Noah was destroyed and why certain things are still hidden from us today. To understand what this city was and why God ordered it wiped from the face of the earth, we have to go back to a moment most people have never been taught about. A moment recorded not in the standard Bible most of us grew up with, but in one of the oldest and most suppressed texts ever discovered, the Book of Enoch. This is a book so dangerous to the established religious order that it was removed from the biblical canon centuries ago. And yet, fragments of it were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, preserved in the caves of Qumran, hidden as if someone wanted to make absolutely certain it would survive, because what it contains cannot simply be explained away. It cannot be dismissed as mythology. It is a detailed, systematic account of what happened on this earth before the flood. And at the center of that account is a city. Genesis 6:4 gives us the briefest glimpse. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. One verse, that's all the standard biblical text offers, but the Book of Enoch tears the curtain wide open. It tells us that 200 watchers, angelic beings assigned to watch over humanity, descended onto Mount Hermon, a real mountain, still standing today on the border of modern Syria and Lebanon, and on that mountain they made a pact, a covenant of rebellion. They swore an oath to one another that they would take human wives, that no divine command would stop them. Their leader was Semjaza, and under his authority, the descent began. What followed was not random chaos. It was organized, it was intentional. The Nephilim, the giant offspring born from these forbidden unions, did not simply wander the earth. They gathered, they built, and what they built became the most dangerous place that has ever existed on this planet. A city saturated with forbidden knowledge, corrupt power, and a darkness so deep that the earth itself cried out against it. Enoch 7 records that the Nephilim consumed all the acquisitions of men. They devoured resources, they dominated, they overwhelmed, and the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. This is not poetic language, this is a legal declaration. Creation itself was filing a complaint before the throne of God, and God was listening. Within the walls of this city, the Watchers became teachers, but not of wisdom, not of truth. Enoch 8 lists what they taught. Azazel showed men how to forge swords and weapons of war. He revealed to women the arts of seduction, sorcery, and the manipulation of roots and herbs. Other Watchers taught enchantments, astrology, the reading of omens, and the cutting of roots for dark purposes. These were not innocent skills being shared. This was a deliberate, calculated unraveling of the human spirit. And the terrifying part? People wanted it. They came to this city willingly. They sought out its knowledge. They traded their spiritual purity for power, for beauty, for secrets. Proverbs 14:12 speaks to this with devastating clarity. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end, it leads to death. The pre-flood world chose that way with open eyes. The city became a beacon of corruption, and as its influence spread outward like poison through water, violence filled the earth. Genesis 6:5 says, "The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time." Every inclination, all the time. This was not ordinary moral failure. This was a civilization that had been fundamentally rewired, starting from that city, spreading through every bloodline it touched. 4 archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel, stood before the throne of God and delivered their report. Enoch 9 records it. They had looked down upon the earth and seen the blood being shed. the lawlessness multiplying, the forbidden secrets being spread to every corner of the world. And they cried out, "You see what Azazel has done, how he has taught all unrighteousness on earth and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven." The secrets preserved in heaven. Think about that for a moment. There are things that belong to God's realm alone, knowledge so powerful, so dangerous, that it was never meant for mortal or fallen hands. And this city had become the place where those secrets were being distributed, freely, recklessly, to anyone willing to enter its gates. The verdict from heaven was inevitable, but the city still stood. The Nephilim still ruled, and the corruption was still spreading. What God ordered next, and how he ordered it, is one of the most dramatic divine interventions in all of sacred history, and the instruction he gave went far beyond simply sending rain. If what you're hearing is stirring something deep inside you, a recognition that these truths matter, that they were hidden for a reason, subscribe to this channel right now. Because what comes next in this story is something the church has never fully explained, and you deserve to know the whole truth. When God issued his response to what was happening inside this forbidden city, he didn't send a warning. He didn't send a prophet to negotiate. He sent archangels with specific, detailed instructions, and the precision of those instructions tells us something profound about how seriously heaven took the threat this city represented. In Enoch 10, God speaks directly to each archangel and gives them their assignments. To Raphael he says, "Bind Azazel hand and foot and cast him into the darkness. Make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudael, and cast him therein. Lay upon him rough and jagged rocks and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever." This was not a temporary punishment. This was a burial, a sealing away, an erasure. But notice something crucial. The city had to be dealt with before the flood. God's instructions to the archangels came before the waters rose, because the flood alone could not undo what had been done inside those walls. The knowledge that had been transmitted, the corruption that had been embedded into the fabric of that civilization, required a different kind of intervention. The city had to be spiritually dismantled, not just physically destroyed. To Gabriel, God gave a different command. "Proceed against the bastards and the reprobates and against the children of fornication. Destroy the children of the Watchers from amongst men." The word used in the original Aramaic texts carries the sense of uprooting, not simply killing but removing from the root, as one removes a weed not just by cutting the stem, but by pulling the entire root system from the ground so it cannot grow back. This is what the city had become, a root system of corruption. Every street, every structure, every gathering place within it was a node in a network designed to spread forbidden knowledge and dilute the image of God in humanity. 2 Peter 2:4 echoes this reality centuries later. "For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but sent them to hell, putting them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment. The angels who built this city paid an eternal price, and the city itself was condemned to be forgotten." But here is where the story becomes even more extraordinary, because the Book of Jubilees, another ancient text closely related to the Book of Enoch, adds a layer of detail that most people have never heard. Jubilees 7:21-25 records that the corruption of this city didn't stay within its walls. It spread through trade, through intermarriage, through travelers who passed through and carried what they had seen and learned back to their own people. The Forbidden City was, in essence, a distribution center for spiritual poison. And the Genesis Apocryphon, discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls, gives us even more. It describes the physical presence of the Nephilim, their extraordinary size, their appearance, the terror they inspired. These were not metaphorical giants. They were physical beings whose very presence altered the psychology of every human who encountered them. When people entered this city and stood before its rulers, something happened to them. Something broke open in their minds that could not be closed again. Isaiah 26:14 speaks of these beings with a finality that is almost stunning. "They are now dead, they live no more. Their spirits do not rise. You punished them and brought them to ruin. You wiped out all memory of them." Wiped out all memory, that is the divine verdict on the Nephilim and their city. Not just physical destruction, but memorial erasure. God did not want this civilization remembered, celebrated, or studied. He wanted it gone in every possible sense of the word. And yet, fragments survived, texts survived, oral traditions survived, because the human heart has always been drawn to what it's been told it cannot know. And perhaps, just perhaps, God allowed certain fragments to survive so that in our generation, in this very moment, we could understand the stakes of what happened. So we could recognize the patterns when they appear again. Because the Book of Enoch doesn't present this city as a unique, unrepeatable event. It presents it as a warning, a template, a demonstration of what happens when the divine order is violated, when forbidden knowledge is pursued without restraint, when the boundaries between the celestial and the earthly are torn down by beings who place their own desires above the will of God. Enoch 16:3 records God's words about the Watchers with devastating directness. You were in heaven, but its secrets had not yet been revealed to you, and a worthless mystery you knew. This you made known to women in the hardness of your heart, and through this mystery women and men work much evil on earth. The mystery was worthless, not because knowledge itself is worthless, but because knowledge stolen outside of God's timing and God's purpose carries within it the seed of its own destruction. The city thrived on that worthless mystery. Its entire economy, spiritual, social, and physical, was built on secrets that had no right to be shared. And when a civilization builds itself on a foundation it was never meant to stand on, the collapse is not just inevitable, it is total, it is absolute. It is the kind of collapse that leaves not even ruins behind, or so it was intended. Because here is the question that archaeologists and biblical researchers have been quietly asking for decades now. What if the ruins of this city were never completely erased? What if something survived? What if the physical evidence of the most forbidden civilization in human history is sitting in the earth right now, and the people who found it are not allowed to say what they found? In 1994, a Kurdish shepherd in southeastern Turkey stumbled upon something that would quietly shake the foundations of everything mainstream archaeology thought it knew about human history. He found carved stone pillars, massive ones, arranged in circles, covered in intricate reliefs of animals, symbols, and figures that should not have existed at that point in time, not according to the standard timeline of human civilization. The site was called Göbekli Tepe, and what was excavated there over the following decades was nothing short of extraordinary. Carbon dating placed its construction at approximately 10,000 to 12,000 years before the present, meaning it predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years. It predates the earliest known Mesopotamian cities by thousands of years. It predates, according to the conventional academic timeline, the very development of agriculture and organized society. How did pre-agricultural, supposedly primitive hunter-gatherers construct a complex of this scale and sophistication? Mainstream archaeology has wrestled with that question ever since, but biblical researchers and students of the ancient texts have a different question entirely. Is this what remains of the world that existed before the flood? Is this, or something like it, a fragment of the forbidden city that God ordered erased? The location matters enormously. Göbekli Tepe sits in the Fertile Crescent, in the same geographical region that ancient texts, including the Book of Enoch, associate with the activities of the Watchers and the Nephilim. Mount Hermon, where the 200 Watchers descended and made their oath, is less than 500 miles away. The Sumerian king list, one of the oldest historical documents in existence, records kings before the flood, with reigns of tens of thousands of years, beings who were clearly not fully human, ruling from cities in this same region. Enoch 8:1 tells us that Azazel taught men to make swords of iron and weapons. The pillar carvings at Göbekli Tepe depict predatory animals, vultures, scorpions, images of power, of hunting, of death. Not harvest rituals, not fertility symbols, something darker, something that speaks of a culture organized around dominance and the wielding of force. These are not the carvings of a peaceful people giving thanks for a good crop. These are the markings of a civilization that worshipped something terrifying. And then there is this: the site was deliberately buried, not destroyed by war, not abandoned and left to decay. Someone, at some point in the deep past, intentionally filled Göbekli Tepe with dirt and covered it, as if they wanted it hidden, as if they were following an instruction, This must not be seen. This must not be remembered. Does that not sound like the echo of a divine command? Wipe out all memory of them. Isaiah 26:14 comes back to us here with fresh weight. You wiped out all memory of them. Someone was trying to do exactly that, and yet the stones endured, the carvings survived. Because stone does not forget what human memory is ordered to abandon. But Göbekli Tepe is not the only site that raises these questions. In Lebanon, at a place called Baalbek, there exists a foundation platform made of stones so enormous that modern engineers genuinely cannot explain how they were moved. The largest of these stones, called the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, weighs an estimated 1,750 tons. The largest crane in the world today could not lift it, and yet it was quarried, transported, and placed with precision that defies conventional explanation. Ancient Lebanese tradition holds that Baalbek was built by giants, not metaphorical giants, physical giants, beings of enormous size and strength who accomplished what normal human beings simply could not. The Book of Enoch and the Book of Giants, another Dead Sea Scroll fragment, describe the Nephilim not just as spiritually corrupt, but as physically massive, capable of feats of strength and construction that left marks on the landscape that we are still finding today. The Aramaic Book of Giants, found at Qumran, records one of the Nephilim speaking of a dream in which a great tablet was submerged in water, all writing on it erased, except for 3 names. Many scholars read this as an encoded vision of the flood, a civilization drowning, a record being wiped, 3 names surviving, perhaps the line of Noah, the one bloodline God chose to preserve through the catastrophe that was coming. Genesis 6:9 tells us why Noah was chosen. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. The phrase translated as blameless in the original Hebrew is the word tamim, which carries the meaning of being whole, complete, uncontaminated. Noah's bloodline had not been touched by what was happening in the Forbidden City. He and his family represented what humanity was supposed to be before the Watchers arrived and began their corruption. Everything God was about to destroy, the city, the Nephilim, the civilization built on stolen heavenly secrets, stood in contrast to that one pure line. And the flood was not simply punishment, it was a reset, a cleansing, a divine act of mercy toward a creation that had been hijacked by beings who had no right to shape it. And yet, even after the flood, the Nephilim appear again. Numbers 13:33 records the spies sent into Canaan reporting, "We saw the Nephilim there. The descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." After the flood, after the destruction, after God's reset, something had survived, or something had returned, which means the Forbidden City's legacy did not end with the waters. It continued, it mutated, it found new ground to take root in, and that raises the most unsettling question of this entire account. If the city was ordered destroyed, if its memory was meant to be erased, if God moved heaven and earth, quite literally, to remove it from existence, why does its influence keep reappearing? What was it about what happened inside those walls that left a mark on human history that even a global flood could not fully wash away? The forbidden city of the Nephilim was erased from the earth, but not from the record. God preserved the testimony so that we, in this generation, could understand the weight of what was lost and what was saved. Job 12:22 declares, "He reveals the deep things of darkness and brings utter darkness into the light." That is exactly what we have done here today. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. It truly means everything. If this opened something in your spirit, please subscribe to this channel, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and give this video a like. It helps more people find these hidden truths. The next videos are already on your screen. Don't stop here, keep watching, keep seeking. The deeper you go, the more God reveals.